My friend, Richarlison just silenced Anfield. In the 90th minute, at one of the most intimidating stadiums in world football, the Brazilian put Tottenham on his back and secured a precious point that could, literally, change the course of our season. A scene nobody expected: a squad with over 12 absentees, deep in crisis, walking into Anfield and coming out without a defeat. And look, this point arrived at an absolutely critical moment, with Spurs sitting just 1 point above the relegation zone. But before I break down every moment of that game, we need to talk about a situation that touches the future of this club at a completely different level: Mauricio Pochettino and the managerial chair. Because this story is entering a very important chapter. Stay with me until the end, pay close attention to every detail, and then tell me in the comments what you think about all of this. Just look at the scenario we are living through right now. Tottenham ended last week with a humiliating 5-2 defeat to Atletico Madrid in the Champions League, a result that exposed every single fragility of this squad. Igor Tudor is 5 games into the job and had yet to pick up a single point. The side sits 16th with 30 points, just one above West Ham and Nottingham Forest, both in the drop zone. With 12 players out through injury or suspension, the trip to Anfield felt like walking into a trap. And it is within this context: maximum pressure, a decimated squad, and a season teetering on the edge of the abyss, that the two stories we are covering today arrive. The name is Richarlison. The Brazilian, who has made a habit of haunting Liverpool, stepped onto the Anfield turf on Sunday with a near impossible mission: help a battered team survive against a side pushing hard for a top 4 finish. And it was not just that he scored, it was how he scored, and what that moment meant. Tottenham took to the pitch without more than a dozen first-team players. Even so, Tudor set the team up in a compact 3-5-2, with Jed Spence on the left and Sousa on the right, looking to close spaces and rely on transitions. With Solanke as the reference point and Richarlison given freedom to roam, the idea was simple: hold your shape, absorb the pressure, and wait for the moment. Now let's look at what actually happened on the pitch. In the 18th minute, Szoboszlai stepped up for a free kick from 25 yards and Vicario recalled between the sticks after the Kinski nightmare in Madrid produced yet another costly error. He got a touch on the ball but guided it into his own net. It was the Hungarian 4th direct free kick goal in the Premier League this season, a Liverpool record. A difficult moment, but Richarlison did not drop his head. The Brazilian had 4 clear opportunities across the 90 minutes: a header in the first half that Alisson tipped around the post, another that shaved the crossbar, a physical battle with Van Dijk where he forced a save even while off balance. And then, in the 90th minute, Kolo Muani, one of just 7 available substitutes, won the ball from Van Dijk with pace and slid it through for Richarlison on the run. The Brazilian did not hesitate: a precise finish into the bottom left corner, Alisson beaten, and Richarlison sprinting to cup his ears in front of the Liverpool faithful. Let's talk about what that goal means historically. That was Richarlison's 5th Premier League goal against Liverpool at Anfield. Only Andrew Cole, with 8, has scored more at that ground against the Reds in the history of the competition. A historic number, my friend. Now, being honest, 1 point at Anfield does not solve Tottenham problems. The side is still just 1 point above the drop zone, and the injury crisis is not going to resolve itself overnight. There are those who will argue the team was too passive offensively. Spurs created very little beyond Richarlison individual moments. The dependence on the Brazilian is enormous, and if he picks up a knock, who carries this team? That is a very real question. Tudor also has yet to show a clear system. This was reactive football, not proactive. So now I want to know from you: in your opinion, was this point at Anfield more than just a result? Do you believe this changes the mentality of the group heading into the crucial 6-pointer against Nottingham Forest next weekend? Or do you think 1 point is still far too little given what Tottenham need right now? Tell me in the comments. Now, we need to talk about Mauricio Pochettino, because the managerial situation at Tottenham for next season is reaching a point of real definition, and the Argentine's latest comments have thrown cold water on a lot of people's hopes. Pochettino was at the Metropolitano last Tuesday to watch Tottenham nightmare against Atletico Madrid. He traveled on the same flight as Spurs supporters, was recognized, embraced, photographed, and the images that circulated on social media showed something every Spurs fan will understand immediately: that connection never died. It never did. But now Poch has gone on record with a message the fanbase needed to hear, even if it is not what they wanted. Mauricio Pochettino arrived at Tottenham in 2014 and transformed the club. He took the side to a Champions League final in 2019, built an identity and a style of football that is still spoken about with deep affection. Since his departure in November of that year, Spurs have cycled through Mourinho, Nuno, Conte, Stellini, Mason, Postecoglou, and now Tudor, and none of them have come close to replicating what he built. After leaving Spurs, he went to PSG, then Chelsea, and today he is in charge of the United States national team, preparing the USMNT for a home World Cup this summer. And this is where the core problem lies, my friend. In a recent interview with Radio Gaceta de los Deportes, with quotes relayed by Mundo Deportivo, Pochettino was straightforward. He is focused on the World Cup with the USA, his contract with the national team ends after the tournament, and any decision about his future comes after that. He acknowledges that he is always linked to clubs he has managed, that he understands the emotional pull, but right now, his mind is on one thing only, the World Cup. That means, in the best-case scenario, Pochettino would only be available in mid-July, which would make Tottenham pre-season preparation extremely complicated. From a purely technical standpoint, the fit would be exceptional. Tottenham need a manager who knows how to develop young players, and Poch is exactly that. Simons, Mathys Tel, Archie Gray, Bissouma, all of them would benefit enormously from a coach who prioritizes development and purposeful football. The high press, quick transition system he installed in his golden years at Spurs is exactly what this fanbase wants to see return. But there is another strong candidate in play, Roberto De Zerbi. The Italian, who did outstanding work at Brighton and then Marseille, is widely reported as the leading candidate for the project manager role, someone to rebuild the club with a medium-term vision. De Zerbi has immediate availability and would be on the market. That makes him a very concrete option. On a short-term basis, names like Sean Dyche have been floated as potential stopgap solutions to stabilize the situation before the end of the season, but it is very difficult to imagine the Spurs fanbase embracing that. And here there is a very real debate. A section of the support is so emotionally invested in the idea of Pochettino return that they are overlooking the practical risks, and those risks are genuine. Arriving in July means an incomplete preseason, very little time to shape the squad, and a rushed transfer window. On top of that, the Tottenham of 2026 is a very different club from the one he left in 2019. Serious financial constraints, a less stable academy pipeline, and the genuine possibility of playing championship football next season if relegation happens. Would Pochettino be the right man to lead a rebuild in the second division? That is a question many supporters have not asked themselves yet. So tell me, are you for or against Pochettino coming back to Tottenham? Is it worth waiting for him until July, even if that hurts pre-season preparation? Or do you want the club to move quickly and close a deal with De Zerbi or another name available sooner? Leave your comment here, I will be reading every single one of them. See you in the next video.